Hello, welcome to the Joy Business Report. Coming up, General Agricultural Workers Union expresses alarm at the neglect of the fisheries sector, leading to the high cost of fish products on the market. Also coming up, economist Professor Peter Quartey links marginal adjustment in June inflation rate to policy inconsistencies by government. Plus, tallow oil set to commence first oil production from the Jubilee South East field before end of the year, a move expected to significantly increase total crude oil production and taxes to the state. Details coming up. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us this morning. First up, the General Agricultural Workers Union has expressed alarm at the neglect of the fisheries sector, leading to the high cost of fish products on the market. The government statistician yesterday pointed out that the fish component of food inflation keeps rising, contributing significantly to the overall inflation rate. Now, speaking to the issue, the General Secretary of the Union, Edward Carraway, said though there are viable policies on paper to revamp the fisheries sector, it is yet to be implemented.
Even though we are now making efforts to have fish ponds where we can deliberately breed fish for ourselves, that has not yet caught up with us. And if you see the level of destruction that we have done to our rivers, if you take the cumulative effect, you will see that the opportunity for fish production has been drastically curtailed by this effect. All our rivers, except a major few of them, who still have marine life, who still have life existence, most of them have been dead. And so you can't get fish from all those ones. So cumulatively, it has a serious effect on our fish production. And it's not surprising for me that we are having fish production declining.
That was Edward Carraway, General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union. Now, lack of coherent fiscal policy measures by government have played a significant role in the marginal increase in inflation rate. That's a view of economist Professor Peter Quartey. Inflation rate for the month of June went up marginally to hit 42.5%, with spikes in food prices acting as a major contributor. But Professor Peter Quartey says government could have managed the situation well to control the rate of inflation with appropriate policy measures.
The marginal increase in inflation reflects the effects of the increase in taxes that we saw during the first quarter, as well as increases in utility tariffs. And we also seeing instances where food production has not increased as much as one would have expected, given that the support for inputs, fertilizers, etc., has not been forthcoming that it used to do in a couple of years ago. So all of this are affecting food prices, and we are seeing its effects on inflation. Of course, we also have imported inflation in the areas of non-food items that are imported, given that inflation generally is rising globally, and with the depreciation in the cedi, it will certainly have some knock-on effect on local food prices as well as the prices of non-food items.
You had economist Professor Peter Quartey. Now, another economist, Professor Lord Mensah, has advised government to use the media budget to critically assess Ghana's taxes to help generate the needed revenue for the state. His comment coming at a time there is pressure on government to use the budget to abolish some taxes deemed to have outlived their usefulness, like the COVID-19 levy. Speaking to Joy Business, Professor Mensah expressed doubt about the introduction of new taxes, warning that would rather affect government's own fiscal policies.
Probably on the revenue side, it is expected that there will be some recalibrations. There are some agitations and calls that the COVID levy should be removed, and I foresee that it will be recalibrated to another form of tax. It may not necessarily be new taxes, because looking at the squeeze as far as a typical business and then the ordinary Ghanaian is concerned, and looking at how inflation has wiped out purchasing power, introducing more taxes will further deepen the wiping out of, disposable income. So existing tax will be maintained, but then I'm looking at the possibility of recalibrating the COVID, levy.
Economist Professor Lord Mensah. Turning to the energy sector, oil exploration firm Tullow has announced it will commence first oil production from the Jubilee Southeast field offshore Ghana before the end of this year. This was captured in Tullow Oil's trading statement and operational update released to investors. There's more in this report.
Tullow Oil, in its trading statement, maintained that the Jubilee Southeast project, which is expected to start soon, will help turn its fortunes in the coming months. This is because the new wells that are coming on board will also help increase the daily production from the Jubilee field to more than 100,000 barrels a day before the end of this year. Tullow Oil now pegs average daily production on the Jubilee field at around 28,000 barrels, but is projecting significant increase in the coming months. The oil exploration giant disclosed that these developments will commence before the end of this year with 3 producers and 1 water injector. Tullow has also assured that together with its partners, they will be embarking on more drilling in the Jubilee area, adding that they have identified more drilling areas. One of the financial side, Tullow Oil numbers also showed that it is indeed on that recovery path in terms of profits and revenue, as it has also taken steps to deal with recent debts on its books.
And that was a business desk report. Now, stakeholders in the upstream sector have expressed worry over the slow rate of renovation of the Tema oil refinery. The concern raised after government pledged to support Sentio oil refinery, which aims to produce 5 million metric tons of petroleum products per annum. According to him, or according to the executive director of the Institute for Energy Security, government has invested about 1.3 million cedis in the Sentio oil refinery last year, yet the refinery has nothing to show for it. He has been speaking to Joy Business.
The kind of support government is giving to Sentio, which same is given to Tema oil refinery, because over the last 1 year, government functionaries have visited this Sentio more than 3-4 times. We've not seen the same with Tema oil refinery. However, we want to believe that government is not only supporting Sentio so that the disadvantage of Tema oil refinery, and we also support Sentio and any other refinery that means good for the country. Now talking about toll and the current arrangement that government is looking at leasing this facility to private hands for almost 6 years.
All right, you had the executive director of the Institute for Energy Security. Just to correct, government has invested 1.3 million cedis in a Tema oil refinery in the last year, yet the refinery has nothing to show for it. That's a point executive director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nanamwisi the 7th, was making. So let's turn to the commodity market for you. Crude oil now trading at $80 a barrel after increasing from yesterday's trading. Gold selling at $1,957 an ounce after going up marginally. Cocoa gained $7, open trading at $3,339 a ton. Now, the redevelopment of the Ghana Trade Fair Center is likely to be completed in about 5 years, as many investors have shown interest in the ultra-modern facility. According to Chief Executive of the Trade Fair Company, Dr. Agnes Edu, the board will be engaging more investors and developers who take up separate structures as part of the entire establishment. She spoke to journalists at an investors conference in Accra.
3 to 5 years from now, we hope to engage various developers who will come and join us and also develop. So that's the timeline we are giving all our investors. But like I said, I've been very inward in my projections because we know that in this world, anything can happen. So barring that anything like COVID can come and sidetrack us again, I think 3 to 5 years is fair to say that the project can be built. Building our core mandate facilities. Our mandate is trade promotion, trade exhibition. We do all the fairs to promote Made in Ghana. So what we are building here is our modern standard facilities. You know, if you're Ghanaian, you know trade fair has fallen into disrepair over the decades.
You had Dr. Agnes Edu, who is Chief Executive of the Trade Fair Company. Now, former Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Usefi Akutu, has called for the development of other tree crops. He's of the view that investing in smallholder farmers to drive the development of tree crops such as rubber, cashew, shea, mango, and coconut could potentially earn the country about $12 billion in revenue. Dr. Akutu spoke at a press